Guns, the biggest part of any FPS, one that its legacy rests upon. You either die a Half-Life 2 or live long enough to see yourself become a, oh good god, what is that?
And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
Okay, we're gonna act like my parents and my younger brother and pretend that one just didn't exist. Anyway, I'm SCP Wyatt, and today I'm going to solve your biggest questions about Secret Lab's biggest update, the gun update. Yeah, but Wyatt, what's the best gun in the game? Okay, well, that's a simple one. You just need to... And why do I keep running out of ammo? Well, I'll tell you. It's because... And how come my parents don't mean it when they say they love me? Alright, enough of the questions. Especially that last one. That one was weird. The things that go boom in the night can be categorized into three main groups: Foundation weapons, chaos weapons, and explosives. Foundation guns are found across the map and in staff hands. Chaos weapons are all more rare and more powerful in general to their Foundation counterparts, but can be obtained very early in the game if you know some tricks. And explosives are what you think they are, the things that go boom. And now's a good time to explain that this guide is made for people just getting into Secret Laboratory for the first time, but it is also aimed for more experienced survivors of Site-02 that also want a good leg up on the competition. So that means anyone can enjoy and is fun for the whole family. So strap in and strap on, because we're going to start this thing off with the Foundation guns. Let's start things off the way my ex likes it, small and reliable. There are two Foundation pistols in Secret Lab, the COM-15 and the COM-18. Much like growing up, 18 is better than 15 in every conceivable way. However, the COM-15 is a lot like me in elementary school, the worst kid in class but special in my own way. Only one COM-15 spawns in the entire game, but is also the only gun not locked inside an armory at the start of the game, which means a scientist or D-boy can grab it right away in light containment. It'll spawn in one of 4 locations on the map. This means if the D-boys can find their way to GR18, Water Closet, Peanut Tower, or the brand new Test Chamber 01, they could get their hands on it and control 914 at the very start of the game. This is huge for D-boys and scientists alike. He who controls 914 controls the game. Not to mention, D-boys that upgrade their cards faster can get access to the armory in light containment, an invaluable source in the early game. Yeah, but Wyatt, that's too slow. I want to get out and escape the facility, not wait around like this is your new YouTube upload schedule. Well, listen here, a-hole. The only thing you do by speedrunning heavy is speedrunning your own death and giving facility guards a free 05 card. And plus, who wouldn't want to stay in 914 for just a few minutes longer if it meant getting a revolver and AK by the time the guards get to you? Yeah, a revolver and AK, that's so neato. You're damn right it is. Now let me get through these guns and I'll tell you all about the 914 upgrades. The COM-15's Chad older brother is the COM-18, which can be found in light armory, heavy armory, and weapon lockers behind the tier 2 doors. For escaping D-boys with not a lot of time on their hands, this is the perfect sidearm. And for optimum escaping, I always keep a preset that uses a suppressor, flashlight, and dot sight on it. Seriously, suppressors are absolutely OP in the new update. You could pop someone right in the face and the people just one room over won't hear anything. It makes D-boys stealthing through an NTF-infested entrance zone so much easier. Use it, you won't regret it. Next up is the FSP-9. This handy-dandy facility guard's best friend is the strongest weapon in the early game. It excels at quickly mowing down groups of unarmed players, mostly D-class personnel by the way. However, buyer beware, as this no Russian simulator comes with horrible inaccuracy and recoil, and also has low bullet penetration. This means it's really just going to give a central massage to any armored player or to 173. So watch out for that and always be sure to attack SCPs in a group of 3 or more facility guards. Don't run away. Apes strong together. But not just guards can get access to these bad boys. D-class and scientists can get their hands on a few FSP-9s if they manage to open up light armory. And they'll sometimes spawn in the tier 2 locker boxes as well, just like the COM-18. But never rule out the hollow sight, which can make holding down a long hallway a lot easier for turning D-boys or other players into set dressing at entrance zone. But a friendly reminder on turning players into paste. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. In the new update, you can disarm multiple people at a time, and as long as they're not also holding a gun themselves, you can disarm them just by holding out your gun and holding E. But that's so dumb. If a server allows for KOS, I should be able to paint the halls with the blood of my enemies. Jesus Christ, calm down. Every team benefits from escorting cuffed players out of the facility. And even if you don't want to do that, just remember this. You don't need to be faster than 096 to escape him. You just need to be faster than the slowest player. Always keep some bait alive. Now, onto one of the coolest new weapons in the update, the Crossvec. You've got more attachments on this thing than any of the other previous guns we've covered so far, with all of the perks of the FSP-9. It's lightweight and great for run and gun scenarios, and with greater bullet damage and recoil. And just like the FSP-9, you can find 2 spawn in light containment armory, as well as up to 2 spawning in the tier 2 lockers. They'll always spawn in the hands of all NTF privates as well. Not to mention, unlike the FSP-9, it's actually got really good bullet penetration, so it's choice if you've got to get through a bunch of armored players. D-boys. How does armor, bullet penetration, and all that work anyway? I don't get it. Hey, that's actually a good question. I'm going to keep this one simple because it's actually really simple. When you pick up armor, your character gets bullet resistance. Note that the armor you pick up only reduces damage done to your center of mass and all headshots, so limb shots don't get resisted. When loading your gun, you could choose to equip bullets that do extra damage, but these bullets won't deal their full amount of damage if your enemy has that bullet resistance. So instead, you could swap that out for extra bullet penetration, so your bullets don't get resisted and you do overall way more damage to armored humans. Also, as of me writing this script, SCP-173 always has passive bullet resistance, so bullet penetration will help against him. However, even though SCP-106 takes 10% of bullet damage, that's not because he has bullet resistance. That's because he's got magic plot armor and lore and stuff. Bullet penetration doesn't affect how much damage he takes, nor the other SCPs, but bullet damage does affect them. Wow, thanks, Wyatt. You're welcome, Billy. Now shut up and let me do my job. Now, if you really want to pack a punch and look good doing it, you're going to want the all-new and improved E11. You could either pick up one of these in a gun cabinet in 079's armory, or by spawning in with it as an NTF sergeant, specialist, or captain. With a baker's dozen attachments for the A11, Carnage will be a dish best served however the chef wants it. Want a hipfire menace? Check. How about a gun capable of dispatching both armored humans and SCPs alike like nobody's business? Go for it. Hey, how about a sniper rifle? Sure thing. Do whatever you want. Yeah, these nerd guns are so boring. I want to see all the cool new chaos guns. Can you show us those now, Wyatt? All right, you annoying fool I invented just for this video. Of course we can, because that's what I was going to cover next anyway. What do you mean you invented me just for this? Representing the Chaos faction, you've got the brand new AK, the brand new Revolver, the brand new shotgun, and the brand new Logicer. The AK spawns in with Chaos Riflemen and Chaos Conscripts, which is the class you spawn in as when you escape as a D-boy or cuffed scientist, by the way. And a word of warning, this thing is about as accurate as a stormtrooper with his helmet on backwards, but its bullet damage is unmatched by any other gun we've covered so far. So slapping on a red dot sight or utilizing aim down sight on this thing is the way to go. And it's got a bunch of attachments just like the 11. You could saw off the stock and go full Scarface as you charge into uncertain death like the madman you were born to be. Or you could sit back with a heavy stock and telescopic sight to use it as a chaos version of a fully automatic sniper rifle. But we're not done with the whole things that shouldn't be sniper rifles but kind of are anyway category of weapons. Because next up is a personal favorite of mine, the 44 itself. This thing normally only spawns in tandem with a shotgun for Chaos Marauders, but if someone could get their hands on one of these things a little early on in 914, you're in for a treat. It doesn't matter what armor your opponent is wearing, a single well-placed dome shot will fold anyone not under the effects of adrenaline. Yeah, this thing is weird to use, Wyatt. It doesn't automatically fire when I press the mouse button. That's because the Revolver actually has 2 firing modes. And this is important, so listen up. When you fire, you normally have to hold left click for 1/10 of a second to fire a round. This means you're in double action mode. You're able to time your follow-up shots to rapidly fire blindly into a crowded room and or hallway with no regret nor regard for what hapless soul awaits in that pale beyond the mist like God intended. And pressing middle click will put you in single action mode where your next shot fires immediately and is more accurate than normal. But it's slow to chain these types of shots together, so it's common to start a barrage with a single action precision shot and roll straight into a double shot for absolute damage. And you could also put a heavy stock, long barrel, and telescopic sight on this thing to turn it into a little pocket intervention due to its massive headshot damage. Or keep the sight off and go short barrel with standard stock for the perfect pocket pew-pew. But maybe you want to get a bit more up close and personal in the game. Maybe you like looking into the eyes of someone right before you pull the trigger. If that's the case, then do I have the weapon for you. The all-new shotgun. This double pump bad boy can take some getting used to and kinda sucks on its own. But if you and another D-boy get a hold of these in the early game, you can run around with 2 of these things and absolutely delete other players like nobody's business. When it comes to attachments though, you don't get much, so I usually just use a laser pointer, hollow sight, and extended barrel because fuck that precision stat. This is a shotgun, baby. And up next is the absolute gun of guns itself, the Logicer. This beast is put only into the hands of the Chaos Repressors and can blow down an entire spawn wave in one magazine. With 100 rounds to the mag, the highest rate of fire of the game, and the highest damage output for any automatic gun, it can almost solo nearly any SCP in the game. Usually though, only one player will spawn with the Logicer per game, since it spawns with the rarest class of the Chaos. Which is why it can change everything if D-boys or scientists upgrade to this thing in the early game. Though its main drawbacks is that this gun suffers from mad inaccuracy when moving. So it's really useful to just think of this thing as a stationary turret if you really want to tear things up. Or you could throw on some attachments like the dot sight, light barrel, and foregrip or laser sight to be able to lug this thing around with some efficiency. Wow, I think I'm really getting the hang of this gun. Thanks, Wyatt. Another thing I want to go over is recoil in the new update. For all guns, recoil are now set patterns. This means a skilled player can get used to these and better control a gun's natural sway. Reducing the recoil stat reduces the kick of the gun, making that arc ultimately shorter overall. And the accuracy stat is how much the bullets will jump around during this arc. Play around on a private server in your free time if you want to get the hang of these. Trust me, it's well worth the time investment. But sometimes it's not enough to just shoot your enemies. We're not savages after all. We blow up people here too. And before we get into the 914 recipes on how to make all the best weapons, I want to cover explosives here. The high explosive grenade. These things are simple. 3 spawn in light armory to support the D-boy revolution, more spawn inside weapon lockers, and all MTF players except for privates spawn with one. But that's not even the magical part of these little blue water bottles of death. You see, these things actually share an interesting timer with the elevators. In fact, they take 1 less second to explode than an elevator does to move between floors. So if you press the elevator button, count to 1, and then gently place these down with a right click right in front of the door, they're liable to blow up anyone inside who's not paying attention. Yeah, grenades suck now though, Wyatt. They don't do a lot of damage anymore, and I can't ever get any kills with them. Now, it's true that grenades got a nerf in the recent patch. They don't do as much damage to 106, and their damage fall off is a lot shorter than before, meaning even a human can survive a grenade explosion from much shorter distance than before if they know what they're doing. But what a lot of people don't realize about grenades is the burn effect it causes. See, that weird effect you get on your screen when you survive a grenade is called burn. And when a player or SCP gets burned by a grenade or any other source, they take 25% more damage for 10 seconds afterwards. That's huge. Think of grenades as a way to push players out of areas you don't want them in, and as little debuff bombs that punish nearby SCPs. A pushy SCP has to either awkwardly retreat back by a grenade, or deal with taking a lot more damage for the next chunk of time, which can completely flip the tables on the SCPs in an instant if they're not working as a team and paying attention. Yeah. Oh, I get it now, Wyatt. Instead of using grenades to one-shot SCPs in elevators like some unskilled loser who didn't have enough friends growing up and has never learned to play an actual team-based game and thinks the world revolves around him, I use them to make sure SCPs can't camp a spot easily and to help them take them down faster, right? That's precisely correct, little Billy. Flashbangs are similar to grenades. 3 spawn in light armory, weapon lockers, and all facility guards will spawn with one. But unlike high explosive grenades, they have a much shorter fuse, so timing them isn't as easy, and a good player stands out when they know how to properly flash their opponents. Yeah, not like that. SCP-018 is the bouncy ball SCP, and acts kind of like a grenade, except this guy will bounce around a room for 80 seconds after being thrown, dealing massive amounts of damage early on, and doing more and more damage as it bounces faster and faster. It'll then explode after 80 seconds, also giving you that burned effect if you're too close. It's perfect to clear out a room like Nuke or, God forbid, 914 for quite a while. It also has a tendency to activate anytime a player drops it from their inventory or gets killed while holding it. So just know, when you pick up this little chew toy, it will go off and ruin somebody's day eventually. Alright, and on to 914 and all of the new upgrade paths for it. If a Debo or scientist spends a little bit of time in 914 to not just collect keycards, they're able to get some of the best late game items in the game very early on and become a massive problem to anyone else around them. And I'm gonna level with you. There's a whole complicated upgrade chart on the Secret Lab wiki, and it hurts my stupid little lizard brain whenever I look at it. So I politely asked the creator of Secret Lab if he had something a little more simple for me, and I kid you not, he linked me a spreadsheet. Which is when I knew I was doomed. But I strapped on my big boy gamer pants and read this thing so you don't have to. So here's the rundown. As you can see here, this is how to upgrade the comm pistols. Note that a comm 18 on Very Fine will either get you a Revolver or Crossvec. This means a few D-boys that raid light armory can turn into some gunslinging cowboys in no time. Or if you already have the comm 15, upgrade it to a comm 18 and then a Revolver. And that's in less time than it takes to get an 05 card. Hey Wyatt. Oh? What's that? Facility guard and his friends who are all now in 914 because they worked as a team and used everything they learned in this guide so far? Did you need something? Yes. Everyone in here is upgrading their stuff to some pretty sweet weapons. Can we join in on the party? Absolutely. Guards that make it to 914 can upgrade their FSP9s to Crossvec in just one upgrade. And then from there either go to AKs or E11s, which can get them a freaking micro, Logicer, or shoddy. And what was Northwood smoking with these Chaos Weapon upgrade tables? Seriously, a Logicer has a 60% chance on verifying to turn into an AK plus 2 grenades. That is a hell of a trade, even for a Logicer. What kind of insane person would even do that upgrade? I would. I did that upgrade. It's freaking awesome. Thanks, Wyatt. But say, I don't have any ammo for these sweet new weapons I've upgraded. And ammo is so hard to find already. How do I get more? What a good point to bring up. Make sure you upgrade your ammo in your inventory along with your guns. Don't carry a bunch of bullets with you for weapons you probably won't use. Just hop into the machine and right-click the ammo in your inventory to drop some on the floor. Remember, the only thing more deadly than a D-boy with a revolver is a D-boy with a revolver and some ammo. And listen, I better see some massive carnage from here on out. I didn't make this whole video just to see D-boys running around aimlessly with their heads cut off anymore. And hey, thanks for making it this far. Share this video with a friend for someone if you think they should watch it. It really boosts the channel and helps it out. And don't forget to smash the like button and leave a damn good comment to break that YouTube algorithm some more. Watch this next video here, and other than that, take it easy, gamers. You're the best.